Behold, cat. What are you looking at? Under communism, she would be dinner. So today we're going to be talking about the bourgeoisie. But first, definition, originally from French, referred to town dweller or bourge. Today it means belonging to or characteristic of the middle class, especially with a focus on material possessions, conventional values, respectability, and comfort. Example, they live a bourgeoisie lifestyle with a nice house in the suburbs and family vacations, used as a pejorative, aka an insult. Conventional, materialistic, pretentious, conformist, or lacking in originality and creativity. Reminds me of a certain group of people. According to Marx's script, which has been recited word for word. According to Marx's script, which has been recited word for word from every grad student who's never held a wrench or pulled a lawnmower in their lives, these bourgeoisie owns the means to production. In other words, they're the people who had an idea, worked 100-hour weeks, iterated through 47 to 100,000 prototypes before they had a working idea that people wanted and they spent their hard money on. The horror. How dare these people create jobs, innovate products, and generate wealth without first consulting the Central Committee? Let's be honest for 5 minutes here. The term bourgeoisie is basically the N-word for people who lack ambition and hold a lot of envy for people who've actually gone out and created something. That's it. It's the same as saying check your privilege. Oh look, because of this particular factor, in this case money, you don't get to speak because you got this privilege of having a little bit of money here and there or being born into it. Anyone can get that. Just what are you willing to do to get that? And these people, they don't want to do anything. They want to have these things handed to them. It's communism. That's basically communism right there in a nutshell. And so behold the modern members of the bourgeois class, who are an affront to our glorious revolution. The tech founder who dropped out of college, lived on ramen noodles, coded in his garage, and now employs 5,000 people making 6 figures each. Oppressor level extreme. Let's give you another one, and this is the group of people that the communists like to say that they speak for. The immigrant family that saved for 20 years, took out a second mortgage, opened up a dry cleaning business that kept the neighborhood's suits crisp and clean, and they're exploiting the proletariat by what? Pressing shirts better than anyone else? The surgeon who endured 15 years of training has to work 80-hour weeks, bourgeois pig. How dare he charge for not letting people die? I mean, there's a reason why if you factor in student debt, plumbers tend to make about as much as doctors. It's kind of insane thinking about it. But since we're talking about plumbers, let's talk about the tradies who start their jobs at 5 a.m., work with their hands, and charge what the market will bear because these jobs are in demand. And they always will be. Until the day we no longer breathe because the human race is extinct. There will always be a need for plumbers, electricians, and builders. And they will charge as the market demands. The dedicated communist theorist who's usually typing their bullcrap from a $1,500 smartphone on a university campus made with capitalist donations, these people, they're not creators. They're not risk takers. They're not providers. They're parasites. That's the whole thing with communism. The people who promote communism, they're the ones who always want to be taken care of rather than creating something themselves. Success itself is the crime. It is a thought process of envy. And all socialism is diet communism. I mean, Karl Marx himself said that. But you know what? That deserves a video on its own. Calling someone bourgeois is the world's laziest moral flex. It's the same as saying you're allowed to call somebody the N-word because black people did whatever. Because I've heard white supremacists somehow do some weird mental gymnastics to say it's morally okay to call black folk the N-word. It's the same thought process. And I've been all around the internet. I get to meet idiots of all different colors, creeds, and whatever. I mean, calling someone bourgeois is when you've read exactly one pamphlet from 1848 and decided this explains why your gender studies degree should make you 6 figures. It's the intellectual equivalent of buying the boardwalk in Monopoly and then flipping the board when somebody else, gets it before you. The game's rigged. Property is theft. Let's redistribute the shit equally, even though I'm only going to work about 1/3 as hard. But the value of our labor, the value of your labor is usually dog shit. And that's the problem here. The sweat of my brow should belong to me. It should. Just like yours should belong to you. And that's the thing. The work that you do, it has its own value. You shouldn't be getting paid the same amount as a doctor for working at frickin' McDonald's. I've worked at McDonald's. The job's hard because the people you work with are usually idiots. And in some cases, the only reason why they got the position in the first place was because they fucked the manager. Speaking from experience here, I did not suck off my manager. I'm talking about the person I didn't like working with. And the worst part about this, especially if it's being used as an insult, is that it is quite elastic. You're bourgeois if you own a business. You're bourgeois if you work for somebody who owns their own business and you make a little bit more money than, the average person. Like if you're like the second in command of a freaking construction company. You're bourgeois if you're saving your money instead of spending it on freaking avocado toast and ridiculously priced lattes. The irony is that I was drinking Starbucks before I started making this. Well, drinking from a Starbucks cup. I mean, the coffee wasn't Starbucks. It was actually that Rise coffee, the mushroom stuff. I mean, it tastes good, but it needs actual coffee in it. So, half of this is frickin' McDonald's coffee, the other half is that Rise coffee. I'm gonna stop there before I go on a rant and ramble about the quality of coffee. Which, for some strange reason, communists are really good at making coffee. So every single time I've gone to a Starbucks and I see a motherfucker with green hair, about 8 different piercings, sometimes they got a little pin that's a frickin' hammer and sickle or some socialist whatever the fuck. It's even funnier when they got a rainbow flag or a trans flag and they got a Che Guevara pin or something of that nature. Because if Che Guevara did not like the gays, they're gonna make some damn good coffee. And you also know that a lot of the women will claim to be men, and, well, they're the first ones to go back to their woman dead name if you give them a nice neck rub. I refuse to elaborate as to why I know this specifically. But yes, saving your money is just basically, let me see what the quote here is, possessive individualism. And it's just another thought crime. If you save your money, you're a bad person. Because, you should be sharing that money. In the end, it's not a serious economic category anymore. It's a tantrum in academic cosplay. It's what ideologues scream when confronted about the embarrassing reality that capitalism, despite its flaws, actually rewards people who solve its problem, show up on time, create value, and every person becomes proof that the revolution isn't necessary. And that's unforgivable. Oh, he's a landlord. We better start stringing these people up. Oh, he has more money than you? That's because he stole it. I had to redo that portion of the video because I went on a rant about the kulaks and the liquidation of the kulaks. The people who knew how to do most of the farming in Ukraine before Stalin decided to liquidate the kulaks, and then there was a famine and the Holodomor, and, well, you know what, I'm gonna stop right there. So, next time some trust fund Trotskyists with a Che Guevara t-shirt made in a Vietnamese factory calls you a bourgeoisie for having a 401k, health insurance, or God forbid, a second car, just smile knowing that you've achieved the ultimate capitalist flex, knowing that you triggered a communist by simply existing and working. Congratulations, you productive menace. The real crime isn't exploitation, it is making laziness look bad by comparison. Keep oppressing the world with your alarm clock, your ambition, and your refusal to wait for the glorious revolution that will sometimes, it usually never arrives. It usually falls flat because, yeah, how do I put this? You know that weird trend where the moment the communists get into power, usually some people up top in the original setup, they wind up getting deleted or, shoved off and disappeared some way. But then the new cabinet comes in, and there's one centralized leader. Yeah. You see the seeds of that every single time you step into one of their Discord servers. You listen in on their conversations in X spaces, and these people, too many of them are trying to be the next Stalin. It's hilarious to think about. It's like, motherfucker, you're all built like Mao. You're not going to be the next Stalin. Vive la bourgeoisie. The only class that seems to get shit done while the theorists are still arguing who gets to be the next commissar. Like, literally, to piss them off, I made this shirt, which is available at the shop. And of course, you can learn a little bit more on my book of Evil Men, which is about Stalin, Mao, Hitler, and Marx. The next of Evil Men book is actually going to be about, I'm thinking school shooters or serial killers. I haven't decided yet. But I'm currently working on 2 book projects beforehand, and yeah, well, more on that later. Have a good one, guys. There's a Patreon down below if you don't want to support me by buying any of that. Peace!